Alright. Hey guys, so today I'm going to be reading the YouTube terms of service that they said that they were gonna be updating next week. So let's get started. We are updating our terms of service on December 10, 2019. This summary is designed to help you understand some of the key updates we've made to our terms of service terms. We hope this serves as a useful guide, but please ensure you read the new terms in full. Welcome to YouTube. This section outlines our relationship with you. It includes a description of the service, defines our agreement, and names your service provider. Key updates. Service provider. Your service provider's new Google LCC policies. We have added a link to the policy, safety and copyright policies, and our advertising on YouTube policies, which all form part of the agreement. These are policies that underpin our community guidelines, and we wanted to make sure to call this detail to you upfront in our terms. Affiliates, to ensure you understand exactly who we mean when we talk about our group companies. We've included a definition of our affiliates, meaning the companies in the alphabet corporate group who may use the service. This section sets out certain requirements for the use of the service and defines categories of users. Key updates. Age requirements. We have stated the specific age requirements for your country, reflecting our Google-wide policies, and including the notice that if you are a minor in your country, you may always have your parent or guardian's permission before using the service. Parental permission. We have added a section to explain your responsibility if you allow your child to use YouTube. Businesses. Our terms now make clear that if you're using the service on behalf of the company or organization, that business accepts this agreement. Your use of the service. This section explains your rights to use of the service and the conditions that apply to use of the service. It also explains how we may make changes to the service. Key updates. Google accounts and YouTube channels. We provided details about which features of the service may be accessed without a Google account or YouTube channel, and which features require now. Your information. We haven't made any changes to the way we treat your information. You can read our privacy practices by reviewing the privacy policy on YouTube Kids Privacy Notice. As a reminder, you can always review your privacy settings and manage your data and personalization by visiting your YouTube account. Restrictions. We have updated this section to reflect our requirements around contests and to include a prohibition on manipulating metrics. Service changes. We have improved our terms to be more transparent about why we might need to make changes to the service, and provided a commitment to give you notice when these changes might affect you, your content and conduct. This section applies to users who provide content to the service. It describes the scope of the permissions that you grant to uploading your content, and includes your agreement not to upload anything that infringes on anyone else's rights. Key updates. License. We've clarified the content license you grant us to make it easier to understand. We're not asking for additional permissions, and there's no difference in how we're using your content. Duration. We have removed the right for YouTube to use your comments in perpetuity. Removals. We have included a link to the tools you may need to remove your content, as well as a clear description about why we might need to take that content and how to repeal removals. Analyzing content. We may automatically analyze content on YouTube to help detect abuse and keep the platform safe. Account suspension and termination. This section explains how you and YouTube may terminate this relationship. Key updates. Terminations. Our terms may now include more details about when we might need to terminate your agreement with bad actors. We provide a greater commitment to give notice when we give such action and what you can do to appeal if you think we've got it wrong. We've also added instructions for you if you decide you would no longer want to use the service. About software and the service. Software licenses. We've made the software license we grant you more specific and including some details around open source. Other legal terms. This section includes our service commitment to you. It also explains that there are some things we might not be responsible for. Key updates. Our liability. We made changes to the disclaimers and limitations of the liability on the terms. About this agreement. This section includes some further important details about a contract, including what to expect if we need to make changes to these terms or which law applies to them. Key updates, modifications. We want to give you the chance to review future material updates to the terms. Still have questions? You can also find further details in our help center. Terms of service, dated December 10, 2019. Welcome to YouTube. Thank you for using the YouTube platform and the products, services, and features we made available to you as part of the platform. Collectively, the service. The service allows you to discover, watch, and share videos and other content, provides a forum for people to connect, inform, and inspire others across the globe, and acts as a distribution platform for original content creators and advises large and small. We provide lots of information about our products and how to use them in our Kids Center. Among other things, you can find out about YouTube Kids, the YouTube Partner Program, and YouTube paid memberships and purchases were available. You can also read all about enjoying content on other devices like your television, your games console, or Google Home. Your sentence provider. The entity providing the service is Google LLC, a company operating under the laws of Delaware, combining at 1600 Amphitheater Parkway, Mountain View, California 94043. Referred to as YouTube, we, us, or our. Refers us to YouTube's affiliates in these terms includes the other companies within the Alphabet Incorporated corporate group, now or in the future. Applicable terms. Your use of the service is subject to these terms, the YouTube community guidelines, and the policy, safety, and copyright policies, which may be updated from time to time together this agreement. Your agreement with us will also include the advertising on YouTube policies. If you provide advertising or sponsorships to update or incorporate paid promotions in content, any other links or preferences provided in these terms are for informational use and not part of the agreement. Please read this agreement carefully and make sure you understand it. If you do not understand the agreement or do not accept any part of it, then you may not use the service. Who may use the service? Age requirements. If you must be at least 13 years old to use the service. However, children of all ages may use YouTube Kids where available, if enabled by a parent or legal guardian. Permission by parent or guardian. If you are under 18, you represent that you have your parent or guardian's permission to use the service. Please have them read this agreement with you. If you are a parent or a legal guardian of a user under the age of 18, by allowing your child to use the service, you are subject to these terms of the agreement and responsible for your child's activity on the service. You can find tools and resources to help you manage your family's experience on YouTube on our Help Center and through Google's Family link. Businesses. If you are using the service on behalf of a company or organization, you represent that you are authority to act on behalf of that entity, and that such entity accepts this agreement. Your use of the service. Content of the service. The content of the service includes videos, audio, for example, music and other sounds, graphics, photos, text, such as comments or scripts, branding, including trade names, trademarks, service markers, or logos, include features, software metrics, and other materials whether provided to you, YouTube, or a third party. Collegible content. Content is the responsibility for this person or entity that includes into the service. YouTube is under no obligation to host or serve content. If you serve any content you believe does not comply with this agreement, including by violating the community guidelines or the law, you can report it to us. Google accounts and YouTube channels. You can use parts of the service, such as browsing and searching for content without having a Google account. However, you do need a YouTube account to use some service. With a YouTube account, you may be able to like videos, subscribe to channels, create your own YouTube channel, and more. You can follow these instructions to create a YouTube channel. Creating a YouTube channel will give you access to additional features and functions, such as uploading videos, making comments, or creating playlists. Here are some details about how to create your own YouTube channel. To protect your YouTube account, keep your password confidential. You should not reuse your YouTube account password on third-party applications. Learn more about keeping your Google account secure, including what to do if you learn of any unauthorized use of your password or Google account. Your information. Our privacy policy explains how we treat your personal data and protect your privacy when you use a service. The YouTube Kids Privacy Notice provides additional information about our privacy practices that we are specific to YouTube Kids. We will process any audio or audio-visual content uploaded to you to the service in accordance with the YouTube data processing terms, except in cases that you uploaded such content for personal purposes or household activities. Permissions and restrictions. You may access and use the service as made available to you, as long as you comply with this agreement and applicable law. You may view or listen to content with your personal, non-commercial use. You may also show YouTube videos through the embeddable YouTube player. The following restrictions apply to your use of the service. You are not allowed to access, reproduce, download, distribute, transmit, broadcast, display, sell, license, alter, modify, or other use any part of the service or any content except A, as expressly authorized by the service, or B, with prior written permission from YouTube, and if applicable, the respective rights holder. Consummate, disable, flagrantly engage with or otherwise interfere with any part of the service, or attempt to do any of these things, including security-related features or features that A, prevent or restrict the copying of other use of content, or B, limit the use of the service of content. Access the service without using any automated means, such as robots, botnets, or scrapers, except A, in the case of public search engines in accordance to YouTube's robots.txt file, or B, with YouTube's prior written permission. Collect or harvest any information that might identify a person, for example, usernames, unless permitted by the person or allowed under Section 3 above. Use the service to distribute unsolicited promotional or commercial content or other unwanted or mass solicitations. Cause or encourage any inaccurate measurements of genuine user engagement with the service, including by paying people or providing them with incentives to increase a video's views, likes, or dislikes, or to increase a channel's subscribers, or otherwise manipulate metrics in any manner. Misuse any reporting, flag, complaint, dispute, or appeals process, including by making groundless, vexatious, or frivolous omissions. Wrong contests on or through the service that do not comply with YouTube's contest policies and guidelines. You may use the service to view or listen to content other than for personal, non-commercial use. For example, you may not publicize screen videos or stream music from the service. Or use the service to A, sell any advertising, sponsorships, or promotions placed on, around, or within the service of content other than those allowed in the advertising of YouTube policies, such as compliant product placements, or B, sell advertising, sponsorships, or promotions in any website or on any page of any website or application that only contains content for the service, or where content from the service is the primary basis of just sales. For example, selling ads on a web page where YouTube videos are the main draw of users visiting the web page. Reservation. Using the service does not give you ownership of rights to any aspect of the service, including usernames or any other content posted to others of YouTube. Changes to YouTube is constantly changing and improving the service. We may also need to alter or discontinue the service or any part of it in order to make performance or security improvements, change functionality and features, make changes to comply with the law, or to prevent any illegal activities or abuse of our systems. These channels may affect all users, some users, or even an individual users. Whenever reasonably possible, we will provide notice when we discontinue or make material changes to our service that will make an adverse impact to the use of the service. However, you understand and agree that there will be times when we make such changes without notice, such as where we feel we need to take action to improve the security and operability of our service, prevent abuse, and comply with legal requirements. Your content and conduct. Uploading content. If you have a YouTube channel, you may be able to upload content to the service. You may use your content to promote your business or artist improvise. If you choose to upload content, you must not submit to the service any content that does not comply with this agreement, including the YouTube community guidelines or the law. For example, the content you submit must not include third-party intellectual property, such as copyrighted material, unless you have permission from the party or are otherwise legally entitled to do so. You are legally responsible for the content you submit to the service. We may use automated systems that analyze your content to help detect infringement and abuse, such as spam, malware, and illegal content. Rights you grant. You retain ownership rights in your content. However, we do require you to grant certain rights to YouTube and other users of the service, as described below. I don't know why I said it like that. License to YouTube. By providing content to the service, you grant to YouTube a worldwide, not-exclusive, royalty-free, sub-licensable, or transferable license to use that content. Including to reproduce, distribute, prepare derivative works, display, and perform it in connection with the service and YouTube's or its successors and affiliates business, including of the purpose of promoting and redistributing part of all its service. License to other users. You also grant each other user of the service a worldwide, non-exclusive, royalty-free license to access your content through the service, and to use that content, including to reproduce, distribute, prepare editable works, display, and perform it, only as enabled by a feature of the service, such as video playback or embeds. For clarity, this license does not grant any rights or permissions for a user to make use of your content independent of the service. Duration of license. The license is granted by you continue for a commercially reasonable period of time after you remove or delete your content from the service. You understand and agree, however, that YouTube may retain or not display, distribute, or perform server copies of your videos that have been removed or deleted. Removing your content. You may remove your content from the service at any time. You also have the option to make a copy of your content before removing it. You must remove your content if you no longer have the rights required by these terms. Removal of content by YouTube. If we reasonably believe that any content is in breach of this agreement or may cause harm to YouTube or users or third parties, we may remove or take down that content in the description. We will notify you with the reason of our action unless we reasonably believe to do so by A. will breach the law or the direction of a legal enforcement authority or would otherwise risk legal liability of YouTube or service. B. would compromise an invitation and or the integrity of operation of the service, or C. would cause harm to any user of the third party, YouTube, or our abilities. Affiliates. You may learn more about reporting and enforcement, including how to appeal on the troubleshooting page of our Help Center. Copyright protection. We provide information to help copyright holders manage their intellectual property offline of the YouTube Copyright Center. If you believe your copyright has been infringed to the service, please send us a notice. We respond to notices of alleged copyright infringement according to the process of our YouTube Copyright Center, where you can also find information about how to resolve a copyright strike. YouTube provide for determination in appropriate circumstances or repeat infringers access to the service. Account suspension and termination. Terminations by you. You may stop using the service at any time. Follow these instructions to delete your service from your Google account, which involves closing your YouTube channel and removing your data. You also have the option to download a copy of your data first. Terminations and suspensions of YouTube for cause. YouTube may suspend or terminate your access to your Google account or your Google account's access to all part of the service, or A. you materially or repeatedly breach this agreement. B. we are required to do so to comply with a legal requirement or country, or C. there has been content that creates or could create liability or harm to any user, our third party, YouTube, or our affiliates. Terminations by YouTube for service changes. YouTube may terminate your access or your Google account's access to all part of the service if YouTube believes in its sole instruction in that permission to the service to you is no longer commercially viable. Notice for termination or suspension. We will notify you with the reason of termination or suspension to YouTube unless we reasonably believe that to do so. A. Would violate the law or the direction of a legal enforcement authority or would otherwise risk legal liability of YouTube or of our affiliates. B. Would compromise an event station or the integrity of operation of the service, or C. Would cause harm to any user, a third party, YouTube, or affiliates. Where YouTube is terminating your access for service changes, where reasonably possible, you may be provided with sufficient time to export your content from the service. Effect of account suspension or termination. If your Google account is terminated or your Google account's access to the service is restricted, you may continue using certain aspects of the service, such as viewing only, without an account. And this agreement will continue to apply to such use. If you believe your Google account has been terminated in error, you can appeal using this form. About software in the service. Downloadable software. When the service requires or includes downloadable software, such as the YouTube Studio application, you give permission for the software to update automatically on your device once a new version or feature is available, subject to your device settings. Unless that software is governed by a version source which providing license, YouTube gives you a personal, worldwide, royalty-free, non-assignable, and non-exclusive license to use the software provided to you by YouTube or as part of the service. This license is for the sole purpose of enabling you to use and enjoy the benefit of our service as provided by YouTube in a manner permitted by this agreement. You are not allowed to copy, modify, distribute, sell, or lease any part of the software, or to reverse engineer to attempt to extract the source code of the software, unless laws prohibit these restrictions or you have YouTube's written permission. Some software used in our service may be offered under an open source license that we make available to you. There may be provisions in an open source license that expressly override some of these terms, so please be sure to read those licenses. Other legal terms. Other than as expressly stated in this agreement or as required by law, the service is provided as is, and YouTube does not make any specific commitments or warranties about the service. For example, we don't make any warranties about A. the content provided through the service, B. the specific features of the service, and C. that any content you submit will be accessible on the service. Limitation of liability. Except as required by applicable law, YouTube, its affiliates, officers, directors, employees, and agents will not be responsible of any loss of profits, revenues, business operations, goodwill, or anticipated savings, loss, or corruption of data. Indirect of consequential loss, punitive damages caused by 1. Errors, mistakes, or inaccuracies of the service, personal injury of property damage resulting from use of the service, any unauthorized users to use of the service, any interruption or cessation from the service, any viruses or malicious code transmitted to or your service by any third party, any content whether submitted by a user of YouTube, including your content and or the removal of unavailability of any content. This provision applies to any claim regardless of whether the claim asserted is based on warranty, contract, tort, or any other legal theory. YouTube and its affiliates' total liability for any claims arising from or relating to the service is limited to the greater of A. the amount of revenue that YouTube has paid to you for using the service in the 12 months before your date of the notice and writing to YouTube and the claim, and B. $500. Indemnity. To the extent permitted by applicable law, you agree to defend, indemnify, and hold harmless YouTube, its affiliates, officers, directors, employees, and agents from and against all claims, damages, obligations, losses, liabilities, costs, or debit and expenses, including or not limited to fees, arising from 1. Your use and accession to the service, 2. Your liability of any term of this agreement, 3. Your liability of any third-party right without limitation, any copyright, property, or privacy right, or 4. Any claim that your copyright caused damage to a third party. This defense and obligation obligation will survive disagreement and your use of the service. The service may contain links to third-party websites and off-site services that are not owned or controlled by YouTube. YouTube has no control over or assumes no responsibility for such websites and online services. Be aware to when you leave the service, you suggest to read the terms of and privacy policy of each third-party website and online service that you visit. About disagreement. We may modify disagreement, for example, to reflect changes to our service or for legal, regularity, or security reasons. YouTube will provide reasonable advance notice of any material modifications to this agreement and the opportunity to review them, except that modifications addressing newly available features of the service or modifications made for legal reasons may be effective immediately without notice. Modifications to this agreement will only apply going forward. If you do not agree to the modified terms, you shall remove any content you have uploaded and discontinue your use of the service. Continuation of this agreement. If your use of the service ends, the following terms of this agreement will continue to apply to you. Other legal terms about this agreement and the licenses changed to you by you will continue as described under duration of license. Severance. If it turns out that a particular term of this agreement is not enforceable by any reason, this will not affect any other terms. If you fail to comply with this agreement and we do not take immediate action, this does not mean that we are giving up any rights that we may have, such as the right to take action to the future. In these terms, include or including means including but not limited to, and any examples we give are for illustrative purposes. All claims arising out of or relating to the terms of service or the service will be governed by California law, except California's conflict of laws rules, and will be litigated exclusively in the federal or state courts in selected country, California, USA. You and YouTube consent to personal jurisdiction and thus counts. Limitation or legal action. You and YouTube agree to that any source of action without arising or related to the service must commence within 1 year of the cause of action occurs, otherwise such cause of action is permanently barred.